Hi, this is Maria Olson. You may know me from Trophy Heads or Starry Eyes and maybe Paranormal Activity 3. And I want to welcome you to Anthony T's Horror Show because it's an awesome show.
Hi, my name is Jessica Cameron, and you're listening to Anthony T's Horror Show.
Hey, fellow horror fans. This is Troy Escamilla, the director of Party Night and Mrs. Claus, and you are listening to Anthony T's Horror Show. Enjoy.
Welcome to another edition of Anthony T's Horror Show. I'm Anthony T. It's the third episode in 3 weeks. Don't get too comfortable in thinking this is going to be a weekly podcast, because it's not. After this episode, yours truly will be going back to the bi-weekly format, meaning every 2 weeks I'll drop an episode. It's just that the Rock and Shock episode had over 80 minutes of material, so I had to divide it into 2 shows. Don't get too comfortable, because I'm not doing a weekly podcast here, as after this episode, yours truly will be going back to the bi-weekly format of an episode every 2 weeks. With that, in this episode, right after the news, I will be interviewing director Matthew Fisher, as I managed to get an interview with him while outside the convention floor at Rock and Shock. Yes, I literally conducted an interview in the lobby of the DCU Center, meaning it's not part of the Rock and Shock show because it was not conducted on the convention floor. So you'll definitely get my interview with Matthew Fisher as we talk about the various podcasts that he has, plus go into more of his film Insomniac. Then after that, I will have an interview with Cayt Feinics, one of the stars of Todd Sheets' Clownado, which is a good film, which people should check out if you're into fun horror films. It's very gory, and if you're into gory films, you should definitely check this film out, as this is just pure fun. Thankfully, it was a good film and not one of those crappy asylum films, as I really had a fun time watching Clownado. I know I'll probably take a lot of flack for it, for having such a fun time watching that film. But my interview with Cayt Feinics will be up right after the Matthew Fisher interview. But first, the news. I have a couple of convention-related news related to horror cons. One good, one bad. If you follow Anthony T's Horror Show on Facebook, you know what the good HorrorCon story is and what the bad HorrorCon story is. But first, I can't not help but say that this is a Jason Blum free zone this episode. That means Jason Blum will not be mentioned on this podcast, as that was the last mention of Jason Blum this episode, because I have no Jason Blum related news of note. But I have news of another horror film that's coming up next Halloween, which I'm excited for, and that is Terrifier 2. Recently, a lot of news outlets, including Brain Dead Network, has reported that Terrifier 2 has added 3 80s icons. Yes. Besides David Howard Thornton coming back to play Art the Clown in Terrifier 2, he will be joined by Felissa Rose, who everyone knows from Sleepaway Camp, Jason Lively from Night of the Creeps, and Tamara Glenn from Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, or as I dub it, Halloween 5, where everything goes downhill. Ancillary, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, is the tipping point where the original franchise went completely downhill. I never liked 5, I never liked 6. I liked H2O, and Halloween Resurrection's a guilty pleasure film, but I don't like the fact that Michael Myers and guilty pleasure films are in the same sentence. Sorry. I love the Halloween series. It just bothers me that Halloween Resurrection is a guilty pleasure film. At least it's better than Halloween 5 and Halloween 6. Back to Terrifier 2. I really cannot wait for this film to come out. I really think this is going to be a very good film. As you heard back a couple episodes ago, that it will probably be more bloodier than the first film. Definitely check out part 1 of the Rock and Shock coverage. As I briefly talked to Steven Della Sala and Jason Levy about Terrifier 2. I can't wait for that film to come out. Seriously. Between that and Halloween Kills, I really cannot wait for October of 2020, as it's going to be great. Those two films, and probably another trip to Rock and Shock. So I cannot wait for October 2020. Now, speaking of conventions, I told you in the beginning I have some good convention news and some bad convention news. Why start with the good convention news? Since, well, yours truly has referred this convention as XCon on episode 24 of my podcast. I can officially now say XCon is TerrorCon. Now, this is a convention in Rhode Island that has ran only twice, in 2014 and on 2017. Now, if you were on the Anthony T. Horror Show Facebook page recently, I posted a picture of TerrorCon. It's coming back! Finally! It took 3 years, but it's finally coming back. They've announced that June 13th, June 14th are the dates for TerrorCon. Location has not been announced yet, so when I know more, I'll let you know. But it's so exciting that that piece of information has finally come out, that TerrorCon is coming back. I really cannot wait for this convention to happen, because it's nice to have a convention near where I live where I don't have to go all the way and pay for a hotel room. Because hotel rooms aren't cheap, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm very happy that finally that this convention is coming back. I really hope Altered Reality Entertainment makes this a yearly convention, because the only way this convention is going to grow if it's run regularly. And these guys kind of have the pockets to at least run 2 or 3 straight years to see if they can get a following. Because they run Rhode Island Comic Con, which is their biggest con of the year. They also have cons in Colorado Springs and in Albany, New York. So I would hope they would spend time and make sure that this show is a yearly show, as the Rhode Island area really needs a horror convention. And I really hope that this is going to be yearly now and not every 3 years. Because if it's going to be every 3 years, why bother putting on the show in the first place? Seriously. But I'm so excited that TerrorCon is coming back, and I can't wait for June 13th, June 14th, 2020 for TerrorCon. Now for some bad convention news. As it seems like Walker Stalker Con may be no more. Because apparently over at Walker Stalker Con in Atlanta, things didn't go well when they had their convention October 18th through the 20th. As when tickets went on sale for the Atlanta show in 2020, one of the stars of The Walking Dead tweeted out on it. Kari Payton, who plays King Ezekiel on the show, tweeted out that I'm not coming, Norman's not coming, Melissa's not coming, Donnie is not coming, Cooper's not coming, confirming more. Time to shut this bleep down. Let's just say Walker Stalker Con in Atlanta didn't go so well, as it looks like there's a lot of actors who were at that convention are swearing not to come back to that convention. And if you add the other controversy that happened before the convention, with Full Empire Promotions tweeting out that their guests that were scheduled to be at that show canceled due to the fact that Walker Stalker Con never booked their travel arrangements. With these two controversies going on, I really think Walker Stalker Con is dead. I urge everyone not to support Walker Stalker Con. I admit I've not been to one, but when the Better Business Bureau gives a company an F rating, alarm bells should go off. Seriously. That they may not be financially stable, as they pretty much, according to the Better Business Bureau, has at least 95 complaints about the company. And I'm talking about a news article from WSMV.com. It's an NBC4 station in Nashville, Tennessee. So I doubt that Walker Stalker Con will run another show, because I really think that company is dead. And if somehow that company is still around, do not support that company. Do not buy your tickets online, because there's a good chance you may not get your money back. As if a company has like 95 complaints from the Better Business Bureau and has an F rating, there's something wrong and probably something shady going down. So I really urge us horror fans to boycott Walker Stalker Con, because I hate to say this. I don't like to say this about any con, but when promoters get greedy and decide to take advantage of the fans, that is not cool. And you will be called out on it. Because us horror fans, we just want a fun time. We want everybody to be happy. We want the actors to be happy. We want the vendors to be happy. And most importantly, we just want to have a fun time. We don't like to be taken advantage of. So this is why I'm talking about this on my podcast. Because Walker Stalker Con should be boycotted. Seriously. Because they don't know what they're doing, and there's too many red flags. With that, that's the news. Every day there's a family struggling with hospital bills to care for their sick child who is fighting an illness. There's a woman who is fighting breast cancer and is having trouble making ends meet while paying for their treatment. And there are burn victims that are going through treatments to heal their deep wounds. There is a charity in the horror community that helps these people. Scares That Care is an organization that helps families deal with the bills for their child. They help women get the treatment they need to fight breast cancer, and they help people who are dealing with severe burns get the help they need to heal. Scares That Care is a 100% volunteer organization and 501c3 nonprofit charity that is dedicated to helping these people in fighting real monsters. To find out more information or to donate to Scares That Care, you can go to www.scaresthatcare.org. Every donation helps Scares That Care fight real monsters. Besides Anthony T's Horror Show, you can also listen to these other fine podcasts on the Doc Discussions Network. Doc Discussions, hosted by Philip Perrone and Michael Darwin. You Know Nothing, Jon Snow, a Game of Thrones podcast. Bullets, Brothels, and Bots, a Westworld podcast. Halloween Boutique, Psychotronic Reviews. And Searching for American Gods. You can find Doc Discussions on the web at www.docdiscussions.com. And Doc Discussions is also available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. I'm here with director Matt Fisher of Insomniac and DJ Stan the Man. How's it going today?
It's going well. How are you doing?
Having a very fun time, as it's been a very wicked weekend.
It's always a fun time at Rock and Shock. Wicked Weekend was last night, I heard. Ta-da! So, yeah, it's always a good time. I just got here not too long ago. I had a wedding yesterday, so I couldn't make it in for the whole weekend. But, yeah, always a good time.
Yeah, this convention has been better than previous years. You too bad you literally missed out on it.
Well, I got some of it in there, you know. I think we got Bruce Campbell this year, which was big. You know, that was great. I'm hoping to get a pop in line and get a chance to see him before the night's over.
Oh, I got him last night.
I'm not expecting to, but a boy can hope, can he?
Well, if you get near towards the end, maybe you can, because that's how I did it last night.
That's the way to do it. He's doing a panel later, which I want to catch.
Yeah, you might want to get before 4 p.m. Now, how did you get into filmmaking?
I got into filmmaking just kind of being a fan of film. I went through a period of time in my teens where, you know, myself and a group of friends, there was different, you know, lines of entertainment that we enjoyed that we kind of took a, you know, you can do it too attitude with. So hence we started getting together with, you know, family and friends and the camera and making stuff, you know, and that's what anybody really should do, I feel, if they're going to get into making films. But yeah, it just blossoms from there, you know. Then you start to work with, you know, more people that are, you know, interested in that field of work, you know what I mean?
What made you want to dive into the world of psychological horror compared to your last film, DJ Stan the Man, which was a dark comedy?
Well, DJ Stan could be psychological horror if you were an alcoholic, I guess. But I'm a fan of all different types of films, so I don't want to be like a filmmaker that just does one certain genre. You know, I like to jump around. And I like the Insomniac story was a story that I kind of wanted to tell, so when given the opportunity, definitely took advantage. It was a script that I actually had, I was sitting on for a while, and then we polished it up and sent it down the river to get done up.
How did you find your two main actors for the film?
The two main actors, the main actor, Rick Chandler, we met because we were working with him on some films at the time. We met Ray Booten, the other main actor, I'd say. We met him through Rick, I believe it was, and working on a film. So, you know, when the project came, you know, resurfaced, those two actors were perfect fits for the characters in the film, so it just kind of organically generated itself.
How did you get James Balsamo to do a quick cameo, and how was his role recorded considering he's from the West Coast?
Well, he was actually in New York at the time. I think he's only been on the West Coast for a year or so now. But we got him through the Rock and Shock program where we are here. Met him years ago when he did a lot of promotional tours for his films and stuff doing the convention circuit. And met him, very cool guy, became friends with him, stayed in touch. And when the opportunity came up to put him in something, you know, we did that. And to record him, we spent all the money on the film to get a super duper microphone that they use for space. We had that brought in, and we set it up in his closet, and we ran an extension cord to the bathroom, and we had him do his lines there, and he emailed it over on his cellular phone, and we threw it up in the film and mixed it down. But Jimmy Balsamo is a good man. If you see him on the convention circuit, stop in and say hi. And he has a new store in California now, Zappers.
I never knew that.
Alex, what's Balsamo's new store, do you know? His new store, do you know the name?
His store?
Alright, never mind. I believe it's Zappers, but yeah, check out James Balsamo.
Yeah, definitely pick up his films if he's at a convention. His films are a riot.
He's the best. Yes.
Now, what was it like finding locations used in the film, including the main character's apartment and doctor's office?
A lot of the locations were people that that were a part of the film in some way that had that at their disposal. I know like the apartments were from the actors. The hospital location, which would typically be our most difficult thing to get. We actually had an associate producer on the film whose husband was a doctor, and when she knew that we needed that location, she stood up and said, "Hey, I got this," and she was that was quite a blessing. And we used that location. We got it for a day, and we shot everything in the hospital in that scene, one day.
Another thing that I liked about the film was the creepy look of the demon.
Yeah.
How did that get created?
Well, what we wanted to do is like a ritual. My whole take on the demon is it was this ancient like demon that goes all the way back to the beginning of man. So that the loincloth came into play, and a lot of the tribal makeup. And I talked to Bill Coyne about what we wanted to do with it, and we designed it from there. But yeah, we really wanted a tribal look, like it was just this ancient demonic warrior that it has its own dimension that it lives in, but as you don't sleep, like it opens up your third eye so you can kind of see different dimensions, and that thing can see too, but it's like walking around looking for food. So when it finds you and you can see it, that you're in trouble at that point. You know what I mean? And then he gets you.
What was the toughest scene to shoot?
Ooh, the toughest scene to shoot? The toughest scene to shoot is probably, there's a scene towards the end where we kind of reveal the demon thing, and it didn't lack, the scene didn't lack, but I know we had the pressure time-wise to shoot it, so that was probably the most difficult scene to shoot, and it was a makeup effect with the demon, so it had to look good, and there's a lot of elements at play, but I think we did pretty good with it.
What made you want to go for more dark tone, whether it's the story or the film's look?
Just in general, I think, I don't know, I always, the darker tone's usually more of a realistic tone, I feel. So when going with horror, you want your horror to be as realistic as possible if you want an audience to really be able to take it in and get scared by it. And with Insomniac, I thought, what's scarier than sickness and stuff like that right now, and knowing that a doctor could not help you, but actually use you as a guinea pig to make you worse type situation. And that's very scary and very real, I think.
Was there any struggles writing the screenplay because it dealt with your insomnia?
No, I thought that helped a little bit because I got like a inside look at the lifestyle of somebody that had it. I've had insomnia pretty much all my life in bouts off and on. And, the discussion of the further extension of what happens with insomnia is probably something I was blessed to get that idea because of having it and putting thought into it so much of, what would happen if you really pushed this and got to a point where, doors were opened or you were seeing things differently or in a whole different way because of this unblocking of, if you would want to call it blocking. Some would call it blocking or unblocking of the sleep. But, yeah. I hope that answered your question. I think I got it.
Yeah, it did. When I listened to the commentary track, I noticed that you had the screenplay written years ago.
Yeah.
What made you want to hold off on the script for that long period between script completion and you getting around to filming it?
Well, with that, that was written, and DJ Stan the Man was written, and I sat down with a cinematographer that was shooting all my stuff at the time, and I said, what do you think we should do next? And the two projects were kind of on the table, and he thought that DJ Stan would be a better run, and with festivals and such, which proved to be wrong, but yeah, so that's kind of why I got sidetracked a little bit, and then it got put aside, and it got dusted off when I was talking to an actor about projects that could fit that person, and that came up, and we did the dusting, and we rocked it, we shot it, put it out, and Alex Hawke is a big fan of the film,
How did you come up with the idea of having the story focus on two characters?
How so?
One dealing with his psychological problems and one being a mad doctor.
Well, I think every victim needs a good villain. You know what I mean? And the Roger Humphreys character is definitely the victim. He's the one going for help, and the person who's supposed to help him is not helping him. He's actually making things worse for him. So in that sense, which is a typical in a horror type story, you would have that villain. Have that victim, and Dr. Pleasance comes in to just be a villain, and he's great at being it. He tapped into it really well. The wickedry of it, more Wicked Weekend talk, but the wickedness of that character. So yeah, I thought it was a good yin and a yang to help the story.
Now the film's available on DVD. What are some of the special features on it?
We have some commentary tracks on that, and we have a nice documentary kind of about the making of it and like the feel and story, behind the whole dimensional element of it, and the demon. It talks more about like that, you know what I mean, like where he comes from and the whole backstory to like the demon type character.
Now, are there any upcoming screenings of the film? And if they can't make the screenings, how can they purchase the DVD?
It's screening at the Dead of Autumn Film Fest in Taunton, Mass. November, I think the 7th or 8th, that weekend, I think. You can check out their Facebook, Dead of Autumn Film Fest.
Yeah, I believe it's the 8th, I think.
The 8th, okay. It's going to be screening there. We'll have DVDs of it there for sale, as well as our other films. And if people can't make it out to that, then you can hit up our Facebook page at Boombastic Films, BOOMBASTIC Films, and send us a message. And we got PayPal and all different types of way to make that transaction.
Now, let's change the topic to YouTube and podcasting. We're both into it.
Yeah.
You have 3 shows within those genres.
Yeah.
Boombastic Cast with Alex Huck.
Yes.
Mostly Ghostly with Insomniac star Ray Boutin.
Yep.
And Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie. What made you get into vlogging and podcasting?
Well, the whole thing came about, I was always interested in podcasting, but I never really knew the technical side of it. When I met Melissa Potter through Billy Coin, and she told me she wanted to do a podcast show, and I said, that's really cool. I've always wanted to do one myself. And it was just like a nice conversation. And then a couple months later, she approached me and she was like, I know somebody at the station that approached me about actually having a show. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, let's try it. So we tried it with Shock Treatment. And we did that for, a couple years. And then we unfolded the Boombastic Cast podcast. And then shortly after was mostly Ghostly with Ray. But podcasts are really cool because really you just sit down, you can have a conversation or just kind of talk and, have a good, it doesn't take a lot really to do a podcast, you know what I mean? So it's really fun and a good way to kind of interact with people and, express your opinions and such and promote yourself. So I just think it's a great tool. Yeah, on our Boombastic Media page, we have all our shows are on there. We're trying to build them up. I think we got like 8 Boombastic Cast episodes now. There's 5. Mostly Ghostly. We're gonna have some horror, some Halloween episodes coming for Halloween, so expect to see that. And we get some mostly Ghostly episodes. Shock Treatment episodes coming soon. Me and Melissa have been talking about doing some episodes. We got a little hiatus for a little bit. We switched up from our WBOB station to the Dorkening. We're supposed to be going on the Dorkening network, from what I heard. So. Well, that's the future of that.
Okay.
Yes.
And where can they find Boombastic Films on the web and social media?
They can find Boombastic Films on Twitter and Facebook. If you want to do social media, and you can find us on YouTube at Boombastic Media. And yeah, if you're local, we do a lot of conventions, or if we don't have booths at them, we'll have backpacks full of DVDs to sell. So, just stop us. We're usually wearing, one of us will be wearing either a Boombastic or a DJ Stand-Up Man or a Groundhog shirt. And just approach us and we can get you that DVD. But yeah, check out the pages on Facebook and the YouTube page.
Any upcoming films in the works?
Yeah, we're developing a feature film right now that we're getting ready to go. We're just finding some funding for it, and then we're gonna take off with that. We got a short that we're planning on shooting in a month for festivals to kind of keep us jiving out in the public, I guess you could say, and that'll kind of hold us over, I think, until the feature comes out. And yeah, we're doing that. We got more episodes of the podcast coming. I know I'm going to the end of this month. I'm going to New York, I think, to shoot a pilot for a reality show, directing an episode, the first episode of this. It's kind of like it's got, I can't go too deep into it, but it's just there's boxing involved and stuff. It's got a little bit of political.
It's top secret.
Yeah, it's a top secret thing. But if that pans out, we're going there to do that at the end of the month in New York. So yeah, that's really what we got going on right now.
Well, I want to thank you, Matthew, for coming on to my show, and have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Have a podcast that you want to promote? Well, if you're interested in swapping commercials, you can promote your show here on Anthony T's Horror Show, and in return I will promote your commercial on my show as well. For more information, contact me at anthonytshorrorshow@gmail.com.
Hey guys, this is Steve Christina. I'm the founder, owner, creator, and host of Super Retro Throwback Reviews. Are you looking for the best movie reviews, music reviews, video game reviews, and Comic-Con coverage all around? Well then look no further. Definitely check out Super Retro Throwback Reviews on YouTube and our new audio podcast, the new and improved Super Retro Throwback Reviews audio files version 2.0 on the following media distributors: Podbean, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify.
Class is over, John. Time for something new and improved.
Welcome back to Anthony T's Horror Show. I'm here with actress Cayt Feinics, one of the stars of Todd Sheets' Clownado. How are you doing today, Cayt?
I am good. How about yourself?
Very good. I always love asking this question first before I start talking about the film and everything. What made you want to get into acting?
So I've always loved acting my whole life. I used to do theater in school and stuff like that. I never thought I would get into it, but as soon as I did, I freaking loved it.
I noticed in some of your filmography that you've done some extreme horror films for directors such as Stephen Brio and James Balsamo. What draws you to this type of horror genre?
So originally with Steven's American Guinea Pig, it was actually a half joke, half serious thing where he had been talking about how he was going to make an American version of it, of the Guinea Pig series. And I was like, well, I want to be in it, half joking, half serious. And he goes, are you sure? Do you know what you're getting yourself into? And I was like, I have no idea, but I'll go for it. And I absolutely loved being in it. Typically, that, like, the super stuff like that where there's not much story is not my super draw into it, but I love the effects and I loved everyone on that set. So being able to do that and see the behind the scenes stuff was really, really freaking awesome.
Now, were you a fan of extreme horror before working with Stephen?
I liked, horror films and stuff like that, but I hadn't really, I had watched stuff and everything, but when, being able to experience that portion of it, I hadn't really, seen anything until I worked with Steven.
Now, you're in a film called Clownado, which is your latest film in which you co-star. Tell me about the film and your character.
So I play a character called Satchel. She is just crazy, like insane. She enjoys playing with her victims. But she's very different from like a Harley Quinn or anything like that. She kind of does her own thing, and she listens to Big Ronnie because he's the boss, but at the same time, she's like, whatever, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to, play around with my victims. And that's what I think I liked about her, is because she was so crazy. She didn't follow any rules. She had her own.
Were you a fan of this carnival / clown craze going on in the horror genre before committing to Clownado?
I do love me some Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This one is a little bit different. Yeah, it's a little bit of a darker feel, but I absolutely love that portion of it. I mean, everybody knows somebody that's afraid of clowns. So it's always fun to play what someone most fears.
Now, how did you become involved with the film?
So with all of them, it ends up being networking. And that's actually my number one thing I tell people. And I've been bad at it. I'm trying to work on it. But networking, actually, getting to know people, getting to communicate with them, that ended up being the thing. Working with Steven, that was the start of it all. And then it, all just kind of escalated from there. And I got to be in Sean Donahue's Descort service. And I don't remember, I've been in Chris Woods' Chaos AD. So it's getting to know these people and networking for that. And then seeing stuff on Facebook too. I saw an audition for Seb Godin and Dustin Hubbard's Lycanimator. And I went ahead and auditioned for that and was able to do that. So it's all about, networking, getting to know people, and then, finding what auditions you can.
What was the auditioning process like for this
film?
For
Lycanimator? Yeah, it ended up being, they had posted, they originally had an idea for the role, and that kind of fell through. So they actually had posted on Facebook that they really needed 2 more roles filled. So I was actually in the process of filming Brad Twiggs' Wrestle Massacre, and I had messaged Seb and was like, hey, I would like to audition for this. And they're like, oh, that would be awesome. So I ended up doing a Skype audition with them, and I auditioned for both of the roles. One where I had to play like a drunk girl, and the other one I had to play a very conservative role, and I ended up getting the very conservative character. So that was something that was really cool, being able to do it over Skype, getting to know these people before I even started filming with them, online.
Did you go through Skype for the audition process of Clownado as well?
Actually, I got that because a couple of years ago, Todd told me that he felt that I was really talented and that he wanted me in one of his films. So, a couple of years had passed, and, you think about it, but a lot of people say things like that and they don't, fulfill it. But Todd always keeps his promises. And he sent us the script, and he's like, hey, by the way, you're this female clown, Satchel, and I wrote the part just for you. So, because originally in his story, it was actually going to be a male, and he completely changed her for me. And that was really cool, is he had just decided that I was going to play this character.
Now, what was it like working with Todd Sheets, as he's been making a lot of these extreme horror films since the 80s?
Yeah, Todd is super freaking awesome. Him and his team are incredible. I always love going around and meeting, other people's film families, and I absolutely love his family. On set, Todd is very focused and dedicated. He does this thing beforehand where he gets everybody to come around and kind of connect and get ready for the scene, kind of just like this brief meditation to kind of relax and be in the moment. And that, I think, drives him to bring everybody together so that way everybody's on the same page. And with that, it ends up working out really well. Everyone, communicates decently. I mean, because we're all up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning filming at night. But it was an honor to work with Todd and his team. I absolutely love them.
Now, one of the things that I liked about Clownado, besides your performance, was the performances of John O'Hara and Rachel Lagan. What was it like working with both of these actors?
I love both of them. John is hysterical. John, it was in character all the time. Like, he was Big Ronnie. And he absolutely cracked us up on behind the scenes and stuff, because staying up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, everybody starts to get loopy. And he was so freaking funny. And Rachel is a sweetheart. I love that girl. We got along really well. She's a big Disney fan. I'm a big Disney fan, so we bonded. So that was really awesome.
What approach did you take when portraying your character in the film? As to me, it felt like you were going for more of a sadistic tone.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I wanted to kind of create this character that, as I mentioned before, did march to the beat of her own drum and kind of did her own thing. It was almost like she was a part of this group because she could actually, get away with things because she had someone allowing her to make these decisions to, go after and kill people or anything like that. And so Todd would actually have me continuously, like I started the moving thing where my character kind of like sways back and forth in the movie, like I'm getting ready to pounce or go crazy, like it makes it unpredictable. And so he just had me keep doing that. Like once I started it, he's like, okay, I want you to do it again. I want you to get into this character. So being able to kind of just take a moment and fully step into her was, how she kind of developed into this crazy psychotic person.
But your role required putting on the clown makeup. What was it like putting on the makeup during that process?
Sometimes we were inside, sometimes we were outside. So you'd get, we'd be filming at night. So sometimes you'd have the lights on your face. So you'd get little like bugs stuck to you as the makeup was being put on. But we had a really awesome makeup crew that they were able to do everything. That was Annalie, RJ, Amanda. They had all, would help put our makeup on because, we had very specific designs and the makeup would have to change at certain points in the film. So they were definitely the ones on top of that. Also, I have no artistic ability when it comes to like makeup stuff.
What was more difficult, having the makeup put on inside or put on outside?
Definitely outside because it was, the summer in Missouri. So it was still pretty humid and your hair would stick to the in the makeup and the bugs would be trying to fly in the makeup. And so I think, and then you have the lights, because you have a cell phone light or a little tiny, light in your face, right in your eyes. Well, when you're inside, you could relax. There's light all around. You don't have to worry about the bugs. It wasn't as humid.
Now, you have a couple of scenes in which you had to work with the gore effects. What was it like working with that stuff?
I love gore effects. Some of them I wasn't actually there for. Like, I don't want to give anything away, but we'll say the birth scene, I was not there for that. And then the kind of ending part of the Longjean Silver scene, I was not there for that either. Like, the parts where you see me were filmed on a different day. But with that, we still got to get, like, super bloody, like when I'm cutting up a body and I just, they start spraying the blood in your face and everything. It tasted terrible because it was, like, soap and other things mixed together. But it was super awesome. I absolutely love that stuff.
What was it like working with the former adult performer Jean Silver?
I love Jean. Her and I were actually friends on Facebook. And then I found out we both were cast in this film. And I messaged her and I was like, I am so excited to finally meet you in person. And she is a sweetheart. I absolutely love that lady. She is so super sweet and so kind and funny. And we had a great time just cracking up and, talking about different things. And, it's just amazing hearing some of her stories.
What was the mood on set while filming at the time you were on set?
Everybody was, on par with everything. Like, everybody was super great. They were, there's moments where you're going to get tired or anything like that, or you're hungry or, but overall, the whole tone and feel of everything was just really awesome. Everybody got along and they, communicated well, which was really great. So it's just a super chill feel on set.
Now, was this one of your best sets to work on?
It was. I love working with every single one that I've been on, and every single one has actually been a really different experience, which is cool too, because everybody that I've worked with, I'll work with the same director, but the set will be completely different. So like I've worked with Sean Donahue and Chris Woods before, and the set for Death Sport, like the feel of it, because it changes on who you're working with and everything. So I love everything about that. I love being able to switch it up with that. So, and working with Todd's set and his family, that was cool too.
What was your favorite scene to film?
I think it was actually probably when we were outside the diner, looking in. I think that was actually a lot of fun. I would say like knocking on the window, that type of stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have to say that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the film. The whole diner sequence.
Yeah.
Because it really had a like chaotic feel to it, which makes this film work so well. Now, what was the most difficult scene to film?
It was probably a scene that actually is really silly to say. But it was a scene that actually got cut, where I had to like dance around on top of the diner top inside the diner. I think you see part of it in the end credits, but it did get pulled from it. But it was just awkward because I was trying. The ceiling, was lower because you're standing on top of it. And was supposed to, be doing this sexy dance and failing at it. And I think that was actually probably the hardest scene.
What was your favorite moment on the set of the film?
Probably when we first got there and got to know everybody, like, getting to actually meet them in person, after having talked to some of them online or anything like that. That was probably the coolest, was getting to just connect with everybody and instantly getting along.
Now, were there any rehearsals before filming?
We didn't have any like official rehearsals. Sometimes we would run through, lines or something like that beforehand, or we'd ask, Todd, how do you want this done? Before we actually film the scene, and then, we'll film it. But there weren't any like official rehearsals or anything like that.
What were your thoughts on the final cut of Clownado?
I love it. I think it was so much fun. I know Todd wanted to do a little bit more with some of the tornado effects, but I think it turned out freaking amazing, and it's everything you'd want in an indie horror movie.
I also noticed when doing a little research that you had a role in James Balsamo's The Lich, which came out last year. And I'm a huge James Balsamo fan. How did you become a part of that film?
I was at Tampa Bay Screams, actually, and I had actually had arrived a little bit late. And I get there, and he was like, hey, filming a movie after this. Do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, sure, of course I will. So we met up at the guy who owned all of the occult stuff in that portion of the movie. Like, he actually owned that prayer mat and everything. I think he was the former drummer for Morbid Angel. But yeah, so I had met James before, but then he was like, hey, do you actually want to be in it? And I was like, sure. So we went ahead and did that little small little part in the movie.
What was it like working with James? As his films tend to have a more trauma-like feel to them.
Yeah, he's goofy. He's a big goofball.
I've met him a couple of times. He's definitely a fun person to be with.
Yeah, he's crazy. So it was a lot of fun doing that. It was cool to meet other people, and then, it's always fun when people, stand around you with freaking weapons, getting ready to kill you and sacrifice you. But yeah, working with James, he's such a goofball. I love that guy.
What was your favorite moment on that film? Excuse me.
So I actually was only there, for the filming of that little bit, but it was really cool. Beforehand, the band, and I feel so terrible that I can't remember the name of the band now, but the drummer, he has a band now, and they actually gave us a concert beforehand, before we started filming, which I was actually probably the coolest part of. So we had like a metal concert in this guy's like practice studio in the back.
Now, I also noticed you have an upcoming film that I'm personally looking forward to called Her Name Was Krista, which is directed by James L. Edwards, who's been in such Tempe Entertainment films such as The Dead Next Door, Ozone, and Bloodletting. How did you become involved with that film?
So I think for this one, it was only a headshot, I think is what it was. So all they needed was like my photo.
Now, what are some of your upcoming films?
So I have 2 new ones. Actually, I have Todd Sheets' next movie, The Ballad of Marshall Stack, which is going to be super freaking cool. I can't go into any details on that one, but it's going to be amazing. And I have a feeling my character in that will probably be my favorite character I've played. But yeah, that one I'm super looking forward to. And then Death Care as well. Daniel Murphy is the director. And that one is going to be super fun as well because I get to, I think Maria Olsen is in that. Now I'm drawing a blank. Julianne Philippot is in that. And oh my goodness, Linnea Quigley is in that one. Lynn Lowry, that's who I was trying to think of. She is in that as well. So that one I am super excited to be a part of as well.
Now, where can they find you on the web or social media?
Yeah, so I have 2 things, Facebook and Instagram. With that, my Facebook is Cayt Feinics. It's CaytFeinics. And then for my Instagram, it's at The Risen Phoenix. So it's the RISENFEINICS.
Well, Cayt, thank you for coming on the show. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
And good luck with your future projects.
Thanks.
Want to learn more about horror directors? With a lighthearted look at 3 of their movies? Meet fearless podcaster Gore Blimey.
I've been unsettled by bats in the past and startled by parrots, and I've even been known to jump at the odd cockatoo.
Discover horror films that are classics, and others, too.
There's a topless aerobics massacre, an exploding rock singer, cannibals, nude martial arts, a deep-fried prostitute.
But it's not all silliness. You'll get proper movie breakdowns, opinion, and background information, too.
Yep, in the 80s and 90s, Jeff Stryker was huge in gay porn. In every sense.
So if you're a horror film fan, come and check out the Trilogy of Terror podcast at strangeanddeadly.com, or find it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or on your podcatcher.
One of those people that has a certain charisma and a certain style, and I'm just hoping one day he'll rub off on me.
The Trilogy of Terror podcast, where we try 3 times harder to give you the willies.
You can find Anthony T's Horror Show on social media on these platforms. Facebook at facebook.com/Anthony T's Horror Show. Twitter at www.twitter.com/Anthony T's Horror. On Instagram at www.instagram.com/Anthony T's Horror Show. On YouTube at www.youtube.com/Anthony Thurber. And you can find Anthony T's Horror Show on the web as well at anthonytshorrorshow.blogspot.com. And you can also find Doc Discussions at www.docdiscussions.com. For my film recommendation this episode, I'm recommending the film Repo the Genetic Opera. Now, this is one of my favorite horror musicals alongside the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is a film that really stands up to the test of time, as I've recently saw this film again after first seeing it way back in I have to say early 2009. This is a very good film. And it's probably very underrated, and I really think it was one of those films that Lionsgate dropped the ball on, as they didn't like the material in the film, so they just buried it pretty much with midnight screenings, which is stupid, because this is a film that should have had at least a 2,000 screen release. They can give it to other really bad films, But, we can't market this film. So this is why this film never got the theatrical release that it deserved. It's still a crime today. Seriously. One of the biggest crimes that Lionsgate has done. And yes, this is a title that Lionsgate has held hostage. As they're notorious of holding horror titles hostage. I'm still waiting for my Blair Witch Book of Shadows Blu-ray, Lionsgate. So, I'm waiting. Enough with holding these titles hostage. You can make money on these titles. Like they missed an opportunity to do a 10th anniversary edition of Repo the Genetic Opera. One of the main reasons why I enjoy Repo the Genetic Opera so much was Darren Brosman's direction. He does a very great job making sure this film has a dark apocalyptic tone to it. Plus the fact that this film moves at a constant pace where there's not a moment that was dull. It's really a fun musical. And the songs in this film were very good as well, as it really still holds up today, with songs like At the Opera Tonight, Chasing the Morning, and Night Surgeon, to name a few. This film stars Anthony Stewart Head from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You have Alex Vega, who is very great in this as Shiloh. You have genre veteran Bill Moseley, and probably one of his craziest performances, up there with Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. You had Paris Hilton in the film as well, as this is the only Paris Hilton film that I would actually recommend, because she had a very short acting career which didn't go far. It also has opera singer Sarah Brightman in the film as well. The film has a very good screenplay as well. One of the reasons why I like the screenplay a lot, it does a really good job fleshing out the characters in the film. I also liked the style this film had, whether it was intended purposely or not, with the way it blends the graphic novel elements with live action elements. It made it kind of very cool and very entertaining. And this film also has a very good twist ending to it, which probably one of the reasons why Lionsgate refused to put it on many screens, because I don't think they liked the ending to this film. Plus, it was hard to market this film as well, and I can understand the ending, but you've already spent money on the film. It should have gotten some sort of a wide release. Let the people decide. Because this is a very good film. And I still hold this in regard today. As this should have been at least on screens everywhere. But for some reason, Lionsgate was too scared to put this film out into the general public, and just tried to bury this in small theaters and midnight screenings. This is why we can't have good things, horror fans. Seriously. When studios don't want to try to take a risk. They're too busy trying to play safe. And that's what Lionsgate, I think, did with this release. And this should have gotten a 10-year anniversary, released last year. But Lionsgate apparently is trying to hide this film in the vault, because it's probably embarrassed that they put this film out. I don't get why they're embarrassed. This is a cult film. Seriously. I enjoyed this film, and I know there's Repo fans out there who love this film. I just wish it had a very proper Blu-ray release than the Blu-ray release it gotten back in 2009, I believe. But anyway, you can find Repo the Genetic Opera right now on Amazon Prime, or pick up the Blu-ray and DVD if it's still in circulation, because I don't know if Lionsgate has put this title out of print. It wouldn't surprise me if they put this title out of print, as they're trying to distance themselves from this film like many other Lionsgate releases. But this is a very good film, and it does not deserve to be held hostage at Lionsgate. Please, Lionsgate, put a collector's edition Blu-ray CD of Repo the Genetic Opera. I'm begging you. But for now, Repo the Genetic Opera is my film recommendation for this episode. On Anthony T's Horror Show on YouTube, I have 2 panels from Rocket Shock already up. First, the DIY indie filmmaking panel and the indie comics panel, which is basically a bunch of comic book artists talking about the comic world of independent comics. On the official website of Anthony T's Horror Show, over at anthonytshorrorshow.blogspot.com, I will be having a couple of reviews up on that site this month, so keep an eye on that. You can always check the Facebook page and the Twitter page to see what films I'm going to be reviewing on that site. With that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening. Have a good day and support indie horror.